Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is my YouTube channel, Shral Thinks, where I talk about all things health anxiety related. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so you can keep up to date with my videos. And don't forget to like and comment at the end if you enjoyed or you want to share your own story. Always love to see what you guys have got to say. So in this video, I want to talk about the importance of learning to sit with your symptoms. And it is the hardest thing in the world for a health anxiety sufferer to not want to interpret and problem solve every symptom that pops up. And for me, I think this was the most difficult thing of all, was that I would have a symptom and I would instantly want to take that symptom, problem solve it, untangle it, try to fit the pieces of a puzzle together, because sitting with the uncertainty that was causing was often too much to bear, and it was a very, very uncomfortable feeling to have. And, you know, I see this with my clients all the time. You know, we get these symptoms and we want to do something. And the reason why is that, you know, when we get a symptom, it might be that it's a new symptom, or it might be that it's an old symptom that's resurfaced or whatever. But what happens is that our brain sees that as a threat. And so the brain likes to problem solve, and it likes to get us to a place of safety. So that when we feel something and we feel that there's something wrong with us, the brain has this idea that, oh my gosh, there's something terribly wrong. And it wants to do something about it, which is why what we often do then is we try to problem solve by, you know, going to Google, taking ourselves to A&E, excessively checking our bodies, you know, seeking reassurance, whatever. And by doing that, we actually make the problem worse. We amplify that sense of being unsafe so that our brain becomes even more panicked, right? But what we actually want to do is learn to sit with our symptoms and learn to sit in that place of uncertainty. And it is a very difficult thing to do, and it takes a lot of time, practice, and just sheer commitment, because we're never going to feel motivated to sit with uncertainty because it's an awful feeling. We're not going to want to do it. But ultimately, there is no way out of health anxiety if we continue to try to control every single symptom that pops up. There is no way out of it. We have to learn to sit. Now, people often say to me, like, well, what if the one time that I do sit on it, you know, I am really unwell? And I mean, we have to apply a little bit of common sense and logic to these kind of things. So if somebody is bleeding from their eyeballs or they're unconscious, like, yes, you know, go to A&E, get urgent medical advice. So there are things where, you know, when it's a genuine emergency, then of course, like, that whole waiting does not apply, and that we should absolutely do the responsible thing and get ourselves checked. And there's definitely a very fine line, because sometimes we really do feel that we're in an emergency situation, and grappling with that can be really difficult. I used to do this all the time. I'd be sat there having, you know, yet another panic attack. And deep inside, I think I knew that it probably was a panic attack. But there was also that, but what if it's not this time, right? What if this time I really am having a heart attack and I'm just going to leave it? And so that is really hard. And that took me a very, very long time. And even now to this day, like, I still get moments where I think like, oh, like, should I be sitting with this symptom? But like I said, we have to use a little bit of common sense and logic and think, you know, have I had this symptom before? Yes, I have. So, you know, that shows me that it probably is anxiety. Like, you know, am I still able to walk around and talk? And, you know, is anybody else kind of worried around me? And we kind of go through these little checklists. And if we can kind of logically, and I know it's hard to do, but if we can logically see that, yes, I have had this symptom before, it's not severe, there's nothing else kind of going on, then that's where we can decide to safely sit. And when I say sit with the symptoms, I don't mean that, you know, we can never get anything checked. It just means to say that maybe that it's just like we sit for 24 hours and like, you know, it might be that we've got, I don't know, let's just say like a really bad headache and we're really freaking out because we think we've got like, I don't know, an aneurysm or something. And it might just be that we say, right, okay, I feel really uncomfortable with this symptom. You know, I have all of these what if thoughts, I've got tunnel vision, I'm catastrophizing, but I'm going to try and sit with this for 24 hours. I'm not going to do any of my safety behaviors because I know that if I Google it or, you know, whatever, I'm 100% going to make that symptom worse because I'll be telling my brain that I'm even more unsafe than I currently feel. And so, you know, you just make a vow to go to sleep, wake up the next day and reassess. And, you know, most of the time what happens, you wake up the next day, headache's gone or it's dramatically reduced, and then you can kind of logically calm yourself down. It might be that you say, you know, right, I have been, I don't know, let's just say my fingertips have been tingling all day today, and you just say to yourself, right, well, I'm gonna sit with this for a week, right? I'm gonna sit with it for a week, and I'm gonna see if I can just let my body naturally calm itself down. Because if we have a symptom that is caused by anxiety, if we do things to drive the anxiety higher, how can we expect the symptom to go away? Like, it absolutely won't. So there's a part of us that needs to get comfortable with allowing our body to have the chance to naturally calm down. And by doing that, what it means is that we have to do nothing, right? We have to do nothing. We have to make sure that we're not feeding the anxiety at all, because only then can we really assess and determine whether our body can just naturally get rid of that symptom because we've allowed ourselves to calm down. So that's something that we don't do with health anxiety. We don't allow ourselves to calm down, because when our body's flooded with all of these stress hormones, then it's going to cause symptoms. And what we do with our actions is we make the anxiety worse, more stress hormones, which is why, in my own personal experience, I've had situations where the left side of my face has been tingling, and because I've driven the anxiety further, it lasted 3 weeks. Or, you know, I've had a headache that lasted for 48 hours initially, Googled it, read about brain tumours and whatnot, and I ended up with a 4-month headache. A 4-month headache because my, you know, nervous system went up. I was in total fight or flight mode, and I stayed there. I kept it there for 4 months. From the behaviors that I was doing, from the choices that I was making. I was, you know, actively feeding the anxiety. And that is why it stayed up there for so long, because I didn't give my body the chance to naturally resolve that anxiety and just kind of have this, we're just going to wait and see, and we're going to sit on our hands. So for me, this was the most challenging part of like my health anxiety kind of recovery journey, was that my anxiety would scream at me, you know, when I tried to sit there and try to sit with the uncertainty and accept and all of this kind of stuff that I knew that I needed to do deep down. So it's not going to be an easy thing, and it's something that you have to practice. You have to actively practice sitting with uncertainty. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And I know that might seem wild to hear, because I remember thinking there's no way I could ever do that, you know, because I feel like my health anxiety was so extreme, so extreme, that I could never see a future version of myself being able to sit there with a symptom or sitting there with my anxiety. But I'm doing it. I do it now every day because I still get symptoms. Things still happen to me all the time. New things pop up, but I just sit. I'll give you an example. So it was last week, I was in the shower, and we know what it's like having a shower with health anxiety. I think it's a particularly kind of vulnerable time. We're naked, we can see everything, we're washing so we can feel our body, and so like it can be quite a triggering thing. And I was just washing, minding my own business, and I noticed that my right kneecap was like black, like totally black purple. And in that moment, of course, I had a rush of adrenaline. I was like, what the heck is that? You know, I touched my knee, I couldn't feel any pain, and I could feel those what if thoughts kind of like going through my mind, and my mind began to tunnel vision and catastrophize. And in that moment, my brain's saying like, what if it's a blood clot in your knee and it spreads to your lung, and oh my gosh, you're gonna have a pulmonary embolism and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's what was going on. So what I did is I took myself out of the shower, I got myself dressed, And I said to myself, right, Sherelle, that wasn't very nice. You know, there's no point trying to sit here and problem solve whatever's going on with your knee, because we'll just go round and around in circles and we will just think of the absolute worst case scenario and fixate on that. So what I said to myself was, we'll check it again in like 3 days time. And if it's still there, we'll go and get it checked out, because it's definitely weird. It's not something that we had before. It's very physical. It's like a big thing that we can see. And I did that. I sat and I waited, and I didn't Google it in the meantime. I wasn't excessively checking it. I wasn't poking and prodding. I just sat with the anxiety. And anyways, I think it was like day 3 that I looked at it, and it was gone. It must have been some funky bruise. But there was no way that 4 years ago I would have been able to have done that. There's no way. Like, I absolutely would have booked a doctor's appointment on that same day, or in the height of my health anxiety, I would have just gone to A&E. I'd go to A&E, I'd be demanding, you know, an x-ray on my knee. I'd want blood. I'd be thinking I've got leukemia. I'd be thinking a million and one things. So it's not to say that I'm now in a position where my health anxiety is like completely gone. It's just I learn to sit, and I've learned to do that pretty well. And we can all do that. Like, we absolutely can all do that, because, you know, I was at a point at my worst where I was at A&E every single day for like about a month. You know, I was Googling for like 10 hours a day. It took over my entire mind. I became completely suicidal. I had 2 very severe nervous breakdowns that landed me in hospital. So I say this from a place of, I know how this feels, and I know how severe it can be, because I've lived through it, and it's horrendous. But I just want to be this, I guess, beacon of hope to let you know that you absolutely can get to a point where you start to sit with uncertainty. And for me, this is what I do with my clients, is that I get them to this place where they can learn to sit, and it makes all of the difference. Like, it makes all of the difference. And I expect that I'll always have a touch of health anxiety. I'm not expecting it to completely go away, but I'm happy with the fact that I now can sit and wait and accept and kind of just like let my body do its thing and let my body naturally kind of calm down. So it's tricky. You've got to really commit to it, for sure. But I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that it brought you at least some comfort to know that I'm on the other side, and I know that it can be done. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys very soon. If you want to follow me on Instagram, where I post health anxiety reels, you can do so. The name is the same as the one on here, at Sherelle Thinks. If you want to apply for one-to-one health anxiety coaching, there's at the moment about a 3-4 week wait, but you can email me to apply, and I will get back to you and let you know my earliest availability, so you can get that booked in. And yeah, guys, I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.